Let's be real. There isn't anything China isn't doing anymore. Nuclear fusion energy, teleportation, limitless energy, and now it's deep sea space station. And what is the US doing? It's spying on China. Bruh. Well, realistically speaking, US is doing what it's doing too. China is also doing what it's doing confidential too. The deep sea space station we're talking about today is just what the US was able to spy on with its satellites. That's a facility under 2,000 meters below sea level. That's just crazy. Wait, how can you build that underwater? So you build on land, then drop allocation. Of course I know that. Under that sea, there are 70 billion tons of methane just sitting there as flammable ice. To give you an idea, SpaceX rockets use methane as fuel because it's efficient and can be made on Mars. Your kitchen stove uses methane. Big part of electricity we use in our houses comes from methane. It's just everywhere. Now, if China succeeded at extracting that, they could reduce their reliance on fossil fuel imports in energy. The thing about China is they always look for ways to rely on that are self-made by the country itself, which I think they're being very smart about. Because if you're too dependent on an external country for your own resources, you might not live too long, especially with your enemies having access to the countries you're importing your energy from. For example, if you rely on Saudi Arabia for crude oil, it might only take President Trump a single visit there to pressure you as a country to obey to something they want you to agree on or do, and you'd simply do it because you have no other option. We've seen that with Ukraine recently when Zelensky declined the peace offer.
Very good and very strong.
He didn't want the US to exploit its minerals. I'm not praising China, but I'm saying it's a good thing that they thought about this. Unlike most of the countries in the world, take a look at the European Union. It took them only a single war between Russia and Ukraine for Russia to stop the pipeline of energy and gas, in that they got in trouble, that they got back to using ancient already closed coal mines or seeking help from other countries like African countries, Morocco and Nigeria. But people in the UK, for example, lived without electricity for a few days before that came to happen. The US has also been using this as a pressure card on countries for decades. All countries in the world import, including China itself. But that doesn't mean you rely 100% on it, but if the resource was taken away from you, the country falls apart. In the case of crude oil we just spoken about, in 2023, China imported more than $319 billion of crude oil, yet in the same year, it was averaging a production of 4.2 million barrels per day. This is a graph of the approximate influence of different countries in the South China Sea and the Gulf of Mexico, considering that the US is in constant Cold War with China.